Hey, this is Danny Davis with the Austin American-Statesman, this year Longhorn Confidential for Texas OU Week. Every week on this podcast around this time, we like to bring on a guest who knows a little bit about the team that Texas is playing. So since it's Oklahoma, we had to go to the Oklahoman, Colton Sulley, Oklahoma beat writer for the Sooners. Appreciate you coming on, Colton. How you doing?
Good, Danny. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
We'll kind of just get right into it. Now, you're a professional. But you're also an Oklahoma grad, so this game may mean a little bit something to you. This is your rivalry. I've got to ask you, just kind of as a Sooner, what does this rivalry mean to you? Is it one that do you believe it's one of the top rivalries in college football? What does Texas OU week kind of mean for you?
Yeah, it's always sort of been a part of my life. Obviously, growing up in Oklahoma, my parents had season tickets to OU games, which the OU Texas game always came with those. So I remember watching it ever since I was little. Got the chance to go to it before college, and then obviously covered the game several times in college and now as a pro. So I definitely think it's one of the best rivalries in college football. I mean, there's nothing like it. Stadium split 50-50 at the 50-yard line. The fact that it happens in the middle of the State Fair of Texas, uh, there's nothing like it in college football. You obviously have your Ohio State, Michigan's, the Iron Bowl, but I think this one will always be my favorite. How about you?
Yeah, I'm a Montanan but not by birth. But I was raised in Montana. I went to University of Montana, so I have a soft spot for the Brawl of the Wild. I'll tell you that, in my belief, Montana State means more than Texas OU. I personally believe A&M is a big rivalry for Texas, but plenty of people will disagree with me on that. We don't really have to get into it, but someone who's been there as a fan, someone who's been there as a professional. You obviously worked for the OU Daily, sports editor there, so you got a lot of experience with the press box. What's the difference between being in the press box and being a fan for this game?
You know,
I guess you can't do horns down in the press box, but aside from that, what are the
yeah,
differences?
I mean, obviously, working at the game, we kind of get that experience. We won't have that experience this year with the renovations, but always trying to make it down to post game and walk in amidst the crowd. I mean, normally whoever wins is pretty happy. The other side is pretty vitriol, let's say. But no, attending the game in the stands, it's not the most comfortable stadium, the Cotton Bowl, which is why they're obviously doing some renovations on it, but like I just said, there's nothing like it, especially if you get the chance to walk or sit next to sort of where it splits there at the 50-yard line. Being that close, especially the schools being as close as they are and meeting halfway in Dallas, you're in the Cotton Bowl. There's nothing really to describe it. Obviously, in the press box, it's a little different feel. You're watching from so high up, but being there in the building, there truly is, I believe, nothing like it in college football.
It's gonna be interesting to see what those renovations are like this year, and maybe we do get a void, I guess, waiting among the people after the game. But we'll get that in the fairgrounds. We're out getting our corny dogs. So we'll actually talk about that in a couple of minutes. But let's get to the actual game. I'm sure being up in Norman, you know what the headline is this week. It's all about John Mateer and his playing status and does he play, doesn't play. Obviously, Brent Venables kind of gave a I don't think he's playing. I don't know kind of answer. But then there's been some reports saying he may try to give it a go this week. But big picture, does this offense really look that different if John Mateer's back there as opposed to Michael Hawkins, a sophomore who played in this game last year?
Yeah, I think it does, Danny, and it's been a wild sort of 48-ish hours. I mean, Oklahoma hasn't practiced indoors really all season long, and yesterday they did, and Brent Venables said it was about the weather, obviously, but there's going to be some speculation that that's not really why. So there was already sort of some vibes around Norman that this thing, John might try and give it a go this week as he's been wanting to ever since he had the surgery just less than 2 weeks ago, but. I asked Ben Arbuckle today and Brent Venables, what do they need to see from him to tell that he could go? Ben Arbuckle gave us a little bit more than Brent Venables did, who's obviously keeping his cards to his chest this week, not wanting to tip his hand to Steve Sarkisian in Texas. But to answer your question, I think the offense looks a lot different. I mean, Michael Hawkins, like you said, is a sophomore. He obviously started in this game. I believe he was the first true freshman to ever start a Red River game last year. Uh, Obviously, two different scenarios. Last season, OU was banged up on the offensive line and receiver. He really didn't stand a chance last year. But John Mateer, he was the Heisman Trophy favorite before he got hurt. He's obviously a better passer, I think it's fair to say, than Michael Hawkins. Hawkins brings a lot of speed in the run game. I do think he's improved since last season, just another year in the his first year in Ben Arbuckle's system, as opposed to having to switch coordinators last year. So if I'm Oklahoma, obviously you want John Mateer to give it a go over Michael Hawkins, but I think it's just going to depend on sort of where Mateer's health is. If you want to risk it, how much better is he, 75, 80% than Michael Hawkins at full go?
We should say this is being recorded on Tuesday. I think this is getting posted on Thursday, so a lot of things can happen between then and there. But I do expect this to be a storyline all the way up to kickoff on Saturday. But in case you're wondering about timelines and that's that. Quarterbacks aside, who is maybe a name or two Texas fans should know on this Oklahoma offense? Who may step up or stand out on Saturday.
Yeah, a much different receiving core this season. Basically rebuilt outside of Deion Burks, but I'm not sure Deion Burks was healthy last year during this game. So Deion Burks is a name to watch on receiver. Keontez Lewis has been a real standout. He obviously was injured last Saturday, so not sure if he's going to be able to give it a go or not. Isaiah Sategna, the Arkansas transfer who actually was born in Austin, he's been the most consistent weapon for Ben Arbuckle's offense. So. Those are a couple names. I mean, I think Texas fans would probably know of and point to a guy like Jaden Ott, who was one of the best running backs in the country at Cal. Had a bit of a disappointing start to the season, but last week he had his season high. So we'll see what the run game brings this week.
Over the past few years, defense in Oklahoma have not necessarily been synonymous with each other, especially in this game. But Oklahoma, over the first 5 weeks of its season, has been playing just lights out on defense across the board. If you look at their stats, they rank among the SEC leaders, among the national leaders, I think, and everything except for maybe turnovers. But this Oklahoma defense is playing great. What would you attribute that turnaround to in year three of the Brent Venables era?
I think the main thing has just been the continuity that we've seen on the roster. A lot of these guys, R. Mason Thomas, Kobe McKenzie, Robert Spears Jennings, are third, fourth year players. Kip Lewis. So Brent Venables' ability to retain that talent and keep them in his system over 3, 4 years, I think, has been really beneficial. And then also, I don't think that it can be understated that Brent took over play calling duties this season. And I think we've seen a real difference in that since Zach Alley departed for West Virginia. I mean, it's always been Venables' defense, obviously, but for him to be more involved in the play calling, more involved play to play this year, I think has made a big difference. But I would say those two things combined is probably, and just ever since he got here in 2022 to now, I think you've sort of seen the slight improvement each season, and I think in year four, he's sort of put all the pieces together.
Question on my part. This is actually year four of Brent over at Oklahoma. A big storyline was kind of Texas is actually favored in this game, at least as of we're taping it this on Tuesday. Is that a talking point in Norman? Is that a rallying cry? Are Oklahoma fans upset? Obviously, Oklahoma's six, Texas is unranked. Oklahoma's
Yeah,
been playing very well this season. Texas is not. Has that been noticed, or is everyone saying we don't talk about rankings or betting lines here?
it's definitely been talked about because it's sort of a rarity. You mentioned the rankings. I think it was 3.5, and then I looked this morning, at least on ESPN Bet, since some of the reports came out about Mateer. I think it's moved to 1.5, maybe. Obviously, we're recording this on Tuesday. Who knows where it'll be when this comes out? But it sort of has. I thought it was at least odd. I don't know how you felt about it, but just given the rankings and given the performances of both of the teams coming up to this year, I definitely thought OU would be a slight favorite, not a big favorite, but maybe Vegas knows something we don't.
You tend to, when you get as old as I am, and you've seen a few of these games as you have, the
No,
betting
no.
lines and the rankings are all out the window when Oklahoma and Texas get together. But this does seem to be a reflection of maybe Vegas not having that much confidence that John is going to play. But this line could also fluctuate, go up and down. Who knows what's actually going to be on Saturday? But I guess once we get more status on John and his playing status, we will know more. But before I let you go, we got to actually talk about the most important topic here, and that is what are you eating on the fairgrounds after the game on Saturday?
Yeah, no, I'm excited to actually get some time to maybe eat something before. Normally, as you know, this game a lot of the times is at 11 a.m. So I'm liking the 2:30 kick. Maybe get a Fletcher's corny dog before the game. Not eat have to eat it at like 8 a.m. So I'm partial to that. I don't really venture into the more wacky items at the fair. I know there's fried everything available, so I play it safe. I stick with the Fletcher's corny dog.
I'm sure you can't go wrong. I'll get mine with ketchup. I don't know if you're a ketchup or
Yes,
mustard guy.
huge ketchup guy.
My man, I like to hear that. But that is Colton Sulley. You can find him on the fairgrounds this weekend, eating the Fletcher's corny dog with ketchup. You can find him on Twitter at Colton_Sully, or you should just check out his work on the Oklahoman.com. Our friends up in Oklahoma, we're no longer, Hearst Brothers anymore, but still a website worth checking out and a lot of good work being done in OKC/Norman. But Colton, I really appreciate the time. Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. And ABC, if you're watching at home, 2:30 kick if you're up in Dallas. And we'll see you at the State Fair.
Yes, sir. Thanks for
Deuces.
having me.